bringing UK's world-leading expertise in dealing with climate change, both in the research level and also from the education side of higher education. I was really sort of listening very closely to what Manfr and Rowan had earlier said about the kind of expertise their countries are bringing in to support and work in alliance with India and the agenda that's been set by Prime Minister Modi. We're working along very similar lines. One of the major research areas that India has with the UK is called the UK-India Education Research Initiative. The UK is India's second largest bilateral research partner, and a huge focus of the research that goes on between Indian and UK higher education research institutions such as the IITs, IISc in Bangalore. The focus is on climate change, and a big focus there within that is water management. In education, and much of this work is us trying to action the legacy of COP26, which was held in Glasgow last year, and is carrying on. And again, Manfred, you mentioned that framework through which we are all working. The third kind of strategic pillar that we think is emerging is Government of India's G20 presidency, and Rahul, you mentioned that, and I'll talk about that in a bit. One of the areas within G20 that we are supporting from the British Council very specifically is the conversations within the Culture Working Group, and India has a very ambitious plan of embedding creative economy as part of its wider economic policy and cultural policy. And that, I think, will start mitigating again some of the environmental degradations, because creative economy has two dimensions. A, it is non-extractive in nature. So as we move forward, creative economy is an area of human activity where we add value to our economy, but without harming the environment or the earth or water or the air in any direct way. The other dimension, which again Rowan mentioned lightly, is the element of circular economy. Creative economy is by nature essentially a kind of circular economy. Our work in education, library is a very important part, and I'm really delighted that today we are here for establishing the Center for UN Peace Studies and Library. British Council has a very visible presence through our library work, which is a subset of our education work. And here, I think one of the very interesting offers that we have, and I'm really delighted to see so many school children, school students here, is the digital library that we offer. And this again has a tangential link to the idea that we're discussing, because books, just like plastic, uses a lot of paper, and paper comes from trees and forests primarily. But the reason why British Council has been investing and creating a lot of content in the digital library space is also because in digital library we see a convergence of readers' behaviors. Because when I was a kid, I have a 17-year-old daughter, and I read very differently when I was 17 than my daughter, because her main knowledge source is this device. It's not that she is wasting away her time. She reads very differently. She doesn't necessarily engage with the world of words through the world of books. She gets her knowledge from digital devices. So therefore, we are investing massively in the digital library, and I'll be very happy to explore collaborations with this initiative and plug in our content with whatever is being discussed here. We also have a fabulous partnership with National Digital Library of India, which is being led up by IIT in Kharagpur. I will end by referring to something that Rahul mentioned in his opening remarks about the thematic motto of G20, India's presidency of G20, which is One Earth, One Family, One Future. This particular phrase comes from a phrase from a shloka in Mahaprabhu, and I'll just recite the whole of it in Sanskrit, and I did study Sanskrit in school a little bit, which comes in very handy. The whole slok really is something that I would like the students to think about a little bit. The slok goes, Ayam Nija Paroveti Ganana Laghu Chetanam Udar Chintanantu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in context is about not thinking.
I think my four speakers already defined very well what are the challenges, but also introduced some approaches to solutions. And I would like to say that Goethe Institute, which is the official cultural institute of Germany, also is committed to contributing to sustainability. And I would actually like to connect to what Devanja just mentioned. Cultural exchange as well as language and educational programs can open new perspectives on sustainability. So education and cultural exchange is very important. Goethe Institute's commitment to the topic of sustainability focuses on the United Nations goals for achieving sustainable development. In our worldwide network and work, we address diverse issues and solutions to bringing together communities, experts, civil society members, cultural producers, and institutions. And this is actually our main asset. We are active in 98 countries, and we have a large network of different communities and experts. And I think this is what we can really work on. So, this is what Goethe Institute worldwide tries to do, but let me highlight some of the, well, let's say, smaller baby steps we try to do at Goethe Institute Calcutta. We are committed to these goals, and let me give you some examples. So one of the sustainable development goals established by the United Nations is to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. In 2022, we had a huge program together with the UNI cluster, which is the European Cultural Institutes, which was called Towards a Better Tomorrow, initiated by the European Spaces of Culture by UNI Brussels. And it was focusing on aspects of climate change, sustainability, heritage, and communities. And we invited artists and communities to come together and to share and co-create solutions for the future of Calcutta's sustainable development. And one of the major issues was, of course, climate change, with a special focus on the Sundarbans and the wetlands, which are very important ecosystems for Calcutta. Our focus was on recycling and on recycling of fabric and fashion, which is one of the major polluters actually worldwide on the carbon footprint, and also water pollution. And also mobility and air pollution were one of the issues we addressed. And we did this not for nothing together with our European and Indian colleagues. So I think only together we can promote and get forward towards a more sustainable future and present. We also cooperate with large Indian institutional partners like the Indian Museum. So we just finished a large exhibition called Critical Zone, and Critical Zone is the thin layer around the planet Earth, which is very much impacted by the human activities, and unfortunately most of the time not much in a very positive way. So this exhibition, which was in one of the most popular museums, one of the most renowned museums in Calcutta, in India and South Asia, reached out to a lot of people and raised awareness of the vulnerability of our planet and how we can actually define a different understanding of living together between human beings and the planet we live on. The nature, animals, plants, everything. And actually we are part of this environment. It is not apart from us. These are two examples of awareness-raising activities in our cultural program, but we also have other more hands-on activities, and they focus on what was already mentioned, some of the R's, so repair, reduce and recycle. Goethe Institute initiated a repair cafe in Calcutta, actually the first repair cafe in Calcutta, which is part of our regular monthly program. So once in a month on a Saturday afternoon, we invite repair experts, our students, staff, course participants, visitors, anybody who is interested to come, to bring their items and get them repaired, but also learn how to repair. Because of course the idea behind that is to not throw away and waste, produce waste, but reuse things, get them repaired, and actually reduce waste in this way of doing that. And also change our consumerist approach to reality, basically. Another activity which we are starting now, in a few days basically, is the Library of Things. This is in the idea of reducing and sharing. It's an innovative, economical and environment-friendly project for the members of our library, and I'm so glad that we are also inaugurating the library. We have a very beautiful library at Goethe Institute here on 2 levels, and the idea is of this library.
আজকে বিশ্ব পরিবেশ দিবস, গৌড়ীয় মঠ থেকে একটা সেমিনারের আয়োজন করা হচ্ছে, এই ব্যাপারে
গৌড়ীয় মঠ কোলাবোরেশন উইথ ওয়েবফুনা আমরা এটা করেছি। আমরা নেচারকে ভালোবাসি, আমরা এনভায়রনমেন্টকে শুদ্ধ করতে চাই এবং দেশের সকল শ্রেণীর মানুষ যাতে সুস্থভাবে বেঁচে থাকতে পারে, সুষ্ঠুভাবে জীবনযাপন করতে পারে। তাই আমরাও চাই যে এনভায়রনমেন্টাল যে ডিগ্রেডেশন এটাকে আমরাও কম করতে চাই। তাই আমরা কোলাবোরেশনের মধ্যে এটা করেছি এবং আশা করি আমাদের এই সেমিনারের মাধ্যমে আমরা কিছু স্কুল ছাত্রছাত্রী এবং অন্যান্যদেরকে একটা মেসেজ দিতে পেরেছি যে আমরা নেচারের সঙ্গে মিলে আমরা যাতে আমাদের ক্লাইমেটগুলো যে আমাদের পরিবেশ দূষণটা কমে, তার জন্য আমাদের চেষ্টা রয়েছে। আমরা এটাকে মানুষকে এনকারেজ করছি এবং আমরা আশা করছি যে এইরকম সেমিনার আয়োজন করতে করতে ধীরে ধীরে মানুষের মধ্যে একটা চিন্তাধারার পরিবর্তন আসবে, যাতে পরিবেশ দূষণের মধ্যে তারা না পড়ে এবং পরিবেশকে সুন্দর করতে তারা সাহায্য করে।
আজকে কি বৃক্ষরোপণের কোনো কর্মসূচি ছিল? আপনার
বৃক্ষরোপণের একটা কর্মসূচি ছিল এবং আমরা কিছু রোপণ করেছি। আমরা বিভিন্ন রাজ্যের মাধ্যমে আমরা বৃক্ষরোপণ করে থাকি এবং বৃক্ষরোপণটা একটা পয়েন্ট যার দ্বারা আমরা environmental degradation ke amra kom korte.
Today is Environment Day. How celebrate?
Well, as for the German Consulate General, we are celebrating it basically in a drive where we had e-waste collected from us so that it can be reused or recycled. We are here to inaugurate this UN library, Peace Study Center. And I'm going now to another conference where we're looking at what the city of Calcutta has in stock for the upcoming year as far as environment is concerned. In general, I would like to stress the importance of all of us on the individual basis to start behaving environmentally friendly. One example of that is don't use plastic bottles any longer. Take your own reusable bottle, and with that you already contribute to bettering the environment. Thank you.
Today is World Environment Day. How to celebrate the Environment Day?
Celebration is in the way of observation. We have to follow, understand how to stop the degradation of the earth. This earth is getting abused and misused day after day. We all have to learn our lessons. If we don't stop at what we are doing today, the future will be very dark. There are so many things to say, but I think this is in a nutshell what should be happening.
And grow out pollution and
everything is man-made. We are taking more from nature than giving anything back. So the net result is it's a deficit budget, as they call it. The earth needs more from us. Nature needs more from us. So we have to learn our lessons. I hope by doing this sort of programs, people will learn. People will be more aware of what is happening, where we are going wrong.
And
Thank you.
can you say a free plastic of the world?
Yeah, as we discussed today, an alternative source has to be taken out for plastic, because plastic today is a part of our life. We cannot wish it away. It's invaded every sphere of our life. So we have to find out alternative means which are more economical and better on sustaining the development goals of the world.